Storm clouds moving in. Whatever's gonna happen, it's about to begin. I remember what the drunk doggy told me when he said, son, don't fear. Mike's where the page life is about to be. Then he's gonna tell you about the wind and the rain. Gonna tell you which way it's going, and if it's gonna be a hurricane. Don't you worry about the news that they try to hide. Just click on Mike's page, Drunk Donkey Nationwide. Well, there'll always be some haters, but they don't understand that Mike's got a friend and 100,000 more across the land. Well, if you want to know it first and you want to know it right and you want to have time to plan, Drunk Donkey Nation tells your friend, Mike, he's your man. And he's gonna tell you all about the wind and the rain. Gonna tell you if it's gonna be a storm or if it's gonna be a hurricane. Don't you worry about the news others try to hide. Click on Mike's page, Drunk Donkey Nationwide. Yeah, here at Mike's page, Drunk Donkey Nationwide.
All right, everybody. We got a special guest I'm very excited to introduce here. And there we are. We have the man himself, the Executive Director of the Florida Division of Emergency Management with us, Mr. Kevin Guthrie. So thank you so much, sir, for joining us.
Hey, good to be with you, Mike. I'm glad that we worked this out, and we should probably make this a tradition at least once every time we have a storm. We try to get together. So I like this format, being a little more casual about it. I've got my Diet Dr. Pepper here ready to go.
I got Mountain Dew.
Yeah, there you go. So a little more casual, like it.
Yeah, well, you know, what is up with these ice storms? I mean, we had Ian last year, right?
Ian, Irma, Idalia.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
So you know, obviously we're going to talk about the latest. Everybody wants to know the latest. So you got the best meteorologists in the state there. What are y'all seeing? I mean, what's changed? What are you worried about with the storm?
Yeah. So we'll start with what's changed. So what's changed is the track, you know, has gone from about Cedar Key. And I'm looking over here at one of our big boards. It's gone from about Cedar Key to Steinhatchee, which is, you know, not a huge shift, but, you know, maybe about 40 miles. A 40-mile shift from Levy County up into Dixie, Taylor County. The other thing that's changed is we've gone from 115 to 120. So, you know, they keep creeping this thing up. And now, in fact, I just got another one here that says now 121 on Hervac. So, you know, this thing is steadily creeping up. You know, what I'm scared to death about tonight is, you know, I'm going to go to bed, try to get, you know, a couple hours, and then I'm going to wake up at 3 a.m. and find out we got another update. And it's all of a sudden it's going to be a Cat 4. Hopefully that's not the case, but you know, there's nothing in its way right now. Once it clears Cuba, there's no real significant wind shear. I'm sure you're going to talk about that in your segment, but there's no real significant things to stand in this thing's way just to thread this needle between these two fronts and you know, head up to Florida. Again, you know, the worst case scenario is this thing shifts either. I shouldn't say either. The worst case scenario is this thing shifts back to the east, maybe comes in around Citrus Hernando, and then causes a world of mess down in Pinellas, Hillsborough County in the Bay. It's not going to be good either way we look at it right now with Levy County, but, you know, state government's here in Leon County, and the tree canopy here and the power lines we don't do well with at all. So if this thing does do a major shift back to the west, that we definitely don't want it to come to Leon, Tallahassee. I know Polly definitely doesn't want that. She just moved here last week, so she doesn't want to be up there by herself at the house. But anyway, but that's our big concern right now. You know, storm surge. You talked about it last night. I caught the tail end of your show last night that Polly was watching. But the storm surge, yesterday it was 4 to 7, today it's 5 to 8.
Right.
I just heard a report, but maybe an hour and a half ago, that somebody's talking about 10-foot storm surge now. So I haven't been able to vet and verify that. I'll say that to all your viewers. I haven't been able to vet and verify that yet, but it wouldn't surprise me, not at all.
All right, well that's great information. I think we're in unprecedented territory with a skirt. We've
Yep.
And I read the tone of the National Hurricane Center. They're battling the classic GFS or Euro, and the Euro's trending east, the GFS is the west, and I mean it's hard to get folks to take it serious. They're so focused on that dang center line.
Yep.
And lessons learned with the outer edge with Ian. And like you said,
Yep.
Tampa Bay, we saw Tropical Storm Ada. I refer to that all the time. Hundreds of homes were flooded, and I don't think folks here realize, even without a direct hit, what we could potentially see. Bayshore Boulevard is already underwater today, and because of the super moon. So you're right. I mean, is a surge like on the back of everybody's mind, like what we're going to see?
Well, that's one of the things we talked about at this year's hurricane conference. It's also one of the things that we talked about at our meteorology summit that we did maybe about 2 months ago in Tampa, and that is we have got to stop focusing on this cone. Because people have misinterpreted the cone now. As you and I know, the cone is where the eye wall will be. It is not where the hurricane's going to be. This is a massive system. I think last night you said it was about 500 miles wide.
Right.
That's wider than the state of Florida. We're roughly 380, 390 miles from stem to stern. That is bigger than the state of Florida. We're going to see impacts all across this state, from trees down to localized flooding. Storm surge is going to be along that. But right now, as I look at it, storm surge goes all the way from southern Collier County all the way over to Gulf Bay County line. We're going to have, that's storm surge, and that's where our tropical storm watches and hurricane watches are at right now. So people just need to realize that it is not that cold. They've got to look at those storm surge watches. Mike, I know I'm preaching to you, the choir, but to the viewers, storm surge and freshwater flooding account for over, I think Ken Graham, Dr. Graham told me in one of his presentations, or Jamie Rome, one or the other, account for more than 60% of the deaths. Storm surge, freshwater flooding, not wind. It's going to rain all over the state of Florida. If it rains in Florida, it can flood. If it rains heavy in Florida, it can flash flood. Again, you see where I'm going with that, is people need to understand that. Don't get focused on this cone.
Right.
Focus on the watches and warnings.
Well, another thing too, I get a feeling in this storm in particular, it seems like it's going to be intensifying as it's making landfall, and it's going to be a forward speed. It's pretty fast. I don't think people really understand that inland effects are real, and power outages and tornadoes, and folks in Jacksonville and even close to Tallahassee might be dealing with a hurricane. And that's something I try to let people know. But this is going to be a little different system, right? I mean, you guys are saying a lot of trees up there. We might be dealing with a lot of power outages. And I just get the sense, and I don't know, I call it hurricane hangover from last year. I just got the sense this year nobody took this serious, and here it is tomorrow. I don't know, is that a feeling you all have got, like the anxiety is not there?
I was down with Kathy Perkins today in Pinellas County, and then up with John McDonald in Levy County. I would tell you the people in Levy County, John McDonald's team, they're concerned. They've seen a definite surge in phone calls coming into their Citizens Calling Information Center. But when I moved around Pinellas County today, there were no lines at the gas stations. Most of the pumps were empty. When I say empty, there was no vehicles at the pumps pumping out. There was 20 pump gas stations. There might have been 5 people at the pumps. You just didn't seem to see this sense of urgency. Now, maybe everybody's listening to us and they're halfway full, they're halfway there, right? They've already got their gas. That would be great if that's the case. I'm not sure that is, though. But there's certain parts of the state that I don't see a sense of urgency, and I'm afraid that we're going to get into this situation where at the last minute everybody's going to say, "Oh my God!"
Right.
And then most people will say, "Nobody told me." Well, we've been saying this now since Wednesday of last week.
Right. So. Well, my opinion with you, especially the state of Florida, the Ian response was phenomenal, and I think most people will agree with that. And what if people are impacted with this system, what can they expect, or what do they do? Or, I know you guys are boots on the ground right away. I mean, what's your recovery efforts like the day after? Like, what does FDEM do? Like,
So the one thing I'll liken it to is a full court press. You use a basketball analogy that we're going to be in a full court press. We've already got 20,000 line personnel staged for the electrical. We still got more coming in. We'll be close to the 30,000, mid 30,000 range there. 5,500 National Guard soldiers and airmen that are coming online. We're going to have somewhere in the neighborhood of about 20 aircraft, rotary wing aircraft, just for the National Guard. We are mobilizing just about every airboat that the Florida Fish and Wildlife Commission has. We've reached out to Palm Beach County, Broward County, Miami-Dade County. They have airboat capability. Reason we want to use airboats is especially up when you get to like up in Steenhatchee, Cedar Key, some of these inland riverine issues where there's a heavy tree canopy. We can't do those aerial assessments. We cannot rescue people through the trees. So we've got to do more of a tactical boat approach. And usually the flat bottom aluminum hull airboats give us the best capability there. So it gives us a really good platform to work with from. We have multiple, and when I say multiple, we're talking about 30, 40 airboats that are going to be in the area. We've got reached out to Tennessee today. Tennessee's Swiftwater Rescue Team will be responding. They have 8 Swiftwater Rescue Teams that work all of those mountainous rivers from a flat bottom boat style as well, rigid hull inflatables. Those guys are going to be coming in. They've helped us out in Hurricane Irma, Hurricane Ian, Hurricane Michael. They're really, really good at what they do. They're really, really good trade craft there. So we've got a lot of stuff staged already. We got a lot of stuff moving in. 400,000 gallons of fuel. We got millions upon millions of gallons of water, meals ready to eat, feeding kitchens on standby. So, the one good thing is we do this a lot. And we know we've almost perfected the science. The one thing we always try to challenge ourselves with now, Mike, is how do we get faster? We're good at what we do, but how can we be faster? We over the last 5 years that I've been here, we've gone from doing things in months' time down to weeks' time. And I will say this: I'll give Jared Perdue, who's over my left shoulder here, credit. He's Secretary of DOT. There's no way I could have built a bridge in 3 days, but that guy sure can.
Right.
And I think it's a testament to the governor. Because he surrounds himself and he puts agency heads in charge that are not political agency heads. You think about Sean Hamilton. He is an actual environmentalist over at DEP. He knows what it's like to be working on the environment. Jared Perdue over at DOT, he's an engineer. You look at Dr. Latipo, he's obviously a medical doctor, double doctorate and with that guy. Siobhan Harris, again, a practitioner of the Agency for Healthcare Administration, Department of Children's and Families, Jason Weta, et cetera. So there's a lot of practitioners that know their trade craft again, that are really good at it. And, I think that's one of the testaments to why we're so good here is because you got people that are not just political figurehead appointees. You got practitioners that know how to do this and do it well.
Well, yeah. Like you said, this is 2 years in a row, right? I mean, who would have thought? I try to tell people sometimes it's once in a lifetime, and here we are doing it all over again. It's crazy. Yeah. So the comments. The number one comment I get, and Dennis Phillips is a good friend of mine. And he gets the same. People want to know their location. That is all that's on people's minds all the time, and it's impossible for me to do that. But where should people go at this point that are like, what about Venice? What about Daytona? I don't even know what to tell people sometimes, but that's the panic level I feel is they want to know what's going to happen to them, like right now. What do you tell them?
I think that hyper-local activity needs to come from the Emergency Management Agency. I think that's a type of binds because if you go to the National Weather Forecasting Office, like Ruskin, that covers your area where you live at, or Jacksonville, Tallahassee weather, those guys are still looking at a regional macro kind of environment. That local emergency management agency should be getting really hyper-local and focused at that level. If you live in your municipality, your local municipal emergency manager that is over your municipality should be giving you those hyper accurate forecasts and giving you that information. Here's the thing: if they're not, then what I would do is, contact your local weather forecasting office, contact your local meteorologist that you deal with on television, and say, hey, look, I want to know what's going on here. I will tell you, after doing that meteorology summit, though, television meteorologists care about their community. They genuinely care. They want to help people. They want to protect people. I met a lot of really good people at that symposium we did, and they want to help. So again, call your local TV meteorologist. Ask them what it's going to be like at the street level in your community. They'll be more than happy to help you out.
Yeah, and I noticed like the National Weather Service offices are really good. Tampa does a great job. So that's good advice. I know that, and in my chat, a lot of people don't even know about the storm. My wife works at Publix, Julie, and she said that half the people came in the line today were like, "Why are all the people here?" So this storm has really caught people off guard. I know it's been out there. I just think it's hangover from last season. And
then I don't know how we do this in the future, Mike, but I almost think that even portions of social media are getting to a point where maybe the Facebook crowd and the Twitter crowd. I think of my stepson Coley down in Florida Atlantic. If it's not on TikTok, he doesn't know about it, right? So so again, for us with a state agency, because of who owns TikTok and the country that's behind TikTok, we cannot broadcast on TikTok. So we've got to figure that out. How do we engage that 20-something-year-old community that's here at the colleges? We got a really good working relationship with Florida State and Florida A&M here in Tallahassee. I know that some emergency managers have better relationships at the state level with their college students, but even down in the high school students, college students, those that have just gotten out of college, again, they may not be, to your point, watching social media. They're watching Netflix and Hulu and all this other stuff, and they're just not getting the traditional forms of communication. I don't know how we fix that.
I tell you what, I'm proud to say, but TikTok, I've got almost 250,000 followers now. Every one of my updates, I've hit 600,000 views. It's unbelievable, the engagement on TikTok. And more people are telling me that's the only source of news. And when I tell people that aren't on it, they're like, what? So you're right. I mean, I figuring out a way to get information, not the traditional ways, and there's so much hype out there. What bothers me with this storm is you put a model out there that's a real, and you get a bunch of people saying it's hype, and then people don't know who to believe. They believe anything, and there's people putting out hype. So now who do you believe and who do you trust? Yep. And that's tough. I mean, I feel
it is. It is, and there's going to be a segment of the community that wants to sensationalize it and hype it up to something that it's not. But at the same time, that does not help us at all when we need to get that message out, right? We don't want to cry wolf, but we need to get messages out. We don't want the hype. We do actually work with a social media influencer on TikTok, OMG Twix, I think.
Oh, I know him. He's the Publix dude.
Yeah, the Publix guy. He's also, a lot of people don't know this, but he's also a DEM guy.
Oh, wow.
So he's done some stuff for us in the past. So we're trying to break into that market by using an influencer to get that stuff done. But man, I don't know how we fix it, but we've got to figure that out as we move forward.
We do our race car in Daytona again. We'll get him over and we'll do some TikToks and have some fun. Cool. Real quick, I know you got to go. I guess number of, in your opinion, the threats with this storm in particular, I guess where does the state rate like the number one, number two, number three threat for people to really take caution?
On this storm?
Yeah, this storm in particular.
Yeah, so number one, storm surge. That's going to be the number one threat. Number two is going to be power line and power associated issues. Again, if you're somebody that's power dependent, we are going to have power outages. It would not surprise me if we have more than, again, I did say that correctly. It wouldn't surprise me if we have more people without power in this storm than what we had for Hurricane Ian. And here's why. If you get about State Road 70, maybe 72, 74, down around Glades County, DeSoto County, Hendry County, that area, you start to move to palm trees versus pines and live oaks, right? But everything north of that is pines and live oaks. There's not a whole lot of palm trees in the central portion of the state. There are on the coastlines, but this is going to go right over an area that is full of live oaks, full of pines. We're going to have tree damage. We're going to have damage, line damage. It would not surprise me the least if we're in the 3 million, 3.5 million homes without power. If you need power to survive, if you need power, it's going to be hot when this all comes out of here. You might want to even hit that on your future forecast
Right.
back out to maybe Thursday, Friday, what the heat indices might be. Because again, if we're back up at the 100, 105 degree area, people cannot survive in manufactured housing without air conditioning, right? So if you need power, you need to evacuate. You need to go find friends and family and stay with them. That's number two. Number three, I think when it comes to that is going to be the freshwater flooding that's centered around the riverines, the basins, Swanee River Valley. I mean, this is going to go right over the heart of the Swanee River Valley from the Alapaha, Withlacoochee, Santa Fe, Swanee Rivers, all of that up in Hamilton County, Swanee County, as it goes all the way down through Dixie, Gilchrist, Levy, and exit out to the Gulf. We're going to have a lot of riverine issues, I believe, as we move through that, the breadbasket, if you will, of Florida, North Central Florida. So those are the top three things I would say. Again, recapping that, it's going to be storm surge, followed by power outages, followed by riverine freshwater flooding.
That's some really good information. I didn't think of half of that. Trust me. Those would be my talking points for sure. I'm going to be up there storm chasing. I might need a ride on one of them airboats.
Okay. we might be able to do a work along or something like that, Mike. We'll do that.
But I know you got to go, sir. And
I got a jet.
I appreciate all you do. And, I'm a Florida native. I love my state. And I'm proud to call it my home and amazed, we have your services for everybody here. So we're in good hands thanks to you. So.
Hey, buddy, I look forward to seeing you back in Daytona. Let's get that thing done. And to your wife, hello. To the dogs, hello. To your daughters, hello.
Thank you.
Honey, wife, I'll be home sometime soon.
I'm coming home.
Take care.
All right, thank you.
All right.
All right, how about that? Look at that. Looked like it worked. Let me get my camera switched over there. That was wonderful. Man, we had some great information there. And I'm back. Look at that. So thank you to the state of Florida for reaching out. That absolutely means the world to me. We reach a large audience here. We have a good time. I mess around and post stuff, fire pits, but when it all comes down to it, man, it's about people helping people, and we have a great community here for many years, and it's very humbling to know that it's recognized, on a national level, and pretty cool. So thanks to the state of Florida. Let's talk about the weather for sure. I know a lot of folks are probably just really wanting to know things. He had some great information. Listen, so by the way, this is Daily Brew. If you're new, Mike's weather page, Shelly's in here, our admin. We're going to do the latest here and what's happened. He kind of gave a recap early that, the storm strengthened, a little wiggle to the west. They're still worried about a wiggle to the east. Local information is great with your local meteorologists, your local TV channels, your local National Weather Service, because that's the number one question I'm getting is, what about my area? So that was some great information. I thought the effects of this storm might put it in perspective, 2 to 3 million people without power. I mean, that because of trees. Palm trees are naturally built to withstand category 3, 4, 5 hurricanes. Oak trees aren't, pine trees aren't, and this is the part of the state that hasn't had a hurricane in a long time, a very long time. So a lot of these are old trees, a lot of the limbs are old. It's people call hurricanes as a way of natural pruning, and but you heard the state's response. How many linemen did he say? Thousands, tens of thousands. But they're ready to go. I mean, that's the great news. I mean, they're just anticipating. So the storm is serious. Think about it. I mean. Surge is going to be, the most shallowest part. Unfortunately, we got a lot of historical towns in the path of this potentially, and all the way down to Tampa Bay. So, yeah, how about that? Everything worked. I can't believe 30,000. He said, "Oh my God, Trent, thank you, 30,000. Unbelievable." So, unbelievable. All right, Lyman's wife. We have a lot of Lyman wife. What an amazing group that is, right? Most of them like to drink beer. I don't think they can hang with me, though. But But the good news is if I get stranded, I got an airboat. I'll be sporting the FDEM hat. All right, here's the latest. Let me get everybody up to date. I've been obviously posting heavily throughout the day. I guess the panic level's coming up because a lot of folks didn't take it serious maybe, or didn't know about it, or didn't think it was really going to happen, and here we are a day away. So the latest track has not changed. They had a little wiggle to the east last night, a little wiggle to the west at 5 o'clock. Hurricane warning stretching a big part of Florida now. The storm is wide. The storm is moving fast. This is one thing that's a little concerning to me. We have 120 mile an hour expectation there overnight Wednesday, but look how much ground it has before landfall. And most models are showing this to be still intensifying as it makes landfall. So the 120 here, it could possibly keep on growing as it gets to wherever it's going to go. The official cone did change a little bit. We talk so much about the cone. People are trained on shifts, and my biggest lesson learned from last year is we can't let our emotions swing on every model run, and I'm responsible and guilty as anybody else. Like, oh, it shifted. Windshield wiper flip-flop are two things you hear so much about, and it happens, and it's happening. It'll happen again. The Euro's a little to the east, the GFS is a little to the right. So you can't let your guard down on every little shift change. First off, you got a system that's potentially 450 miles wide. A little 5-10 mile shift, you're still going to have effects. Now, a 5 or 10 mile shift to the east really gets a little interesting for the Florida West Coast as far as surge goes, winds go. So there's still a lot to watch, and I'm not trying to hype anything. Trust me, it's not set in stone. Now, we have, talking to Julie today, something popped in my head I haven't thought about. I didn't mention this yet, but we are in the countdown stages of NHC updates. What that means is this. There's only a few more updates before they're going to have this track set in stone. So we have an update at 11 o'clock tonight. Tons of hurricane data is being put into those models for tonight, and the 00Z models, spaghetti models. We have an update at 5 tomorrow. We have an update at 11 a.m. tomorrow. By 11 a.m. tomorrow, we're pretty much about a day away, or less than a day away actually, 12 hours away from landfall. This thing might make landfall overnight, Tuesday night into Wednesday. If it goes deeper, it could be more like a Wednesday morning, but we're running out of time here as far as NHC updates. So we got tomorrow 11 o'clock tonight, 5 o'clock in the morning, 11 o'clock tomorrow. By 11 o'clock tomorrow, we pretty much are going to know where it's probably going to go. We're going to know the effects. We're going to know the strengths. We're going to know a lot of that stuff because we're within a day, 12 hours of landfall. So we'll do it. I stay up. We'll do another live in the morning, but then I'm gone. We're storm chasing. I got a lot of our sponsors and supporters are on the field. A lot of state government agencies, national agents. I'm friends with a bunch of folks at FEMA that are coming to town. So second part of what I do is on the ground. So we'll be live in the morning, then I'm off. So make sure you tune in. I'll be streaming live. But anyway, here's the cone. It has shifted a little bit. Every update, the cone gets a little tighter, little tighter, little tighter, little tighter. I can't stress enough. Even if our storm followed this cone, and you heard it from him, Kevin, heard it from Levi today, heard it from a lot of top meteorologists that there's no guarantee that this thing is not going to ride the east side of the cone. There's no guarantee it's going to ride the west side of the cone. So we have to prepare that this thing's going to ride, possibly to the east. So, the cone is where the eye can go. My biggest fear still, we get a system coming right here. We're going to see storm surge like this part of the world has never seen. if this thing ends up being a major hurricane. So that's why we have hurricane warnings out. We have storm surge warnings out. We have most evacuation A's mandatory. That's a lot of people being evacuated. It's serious. So there's no more hype. I mean, these are real evacuations. This doesn't happen very often. Mandatory. So they're worried about this water surge coming in. Now listen, the other thing, look at this. This is right smack dab Florida-Georgia line. Still expected to be at 90 miles an hour hurricane. This would be Wednesday, 1 p.m. Think about that. Just like Mr. Guthrie said, lots of trees, a lot of area up there is going to be without power. It's still going to be a 90 mile an hour hurricane because this thing is going to be strengthening as it approaches land. And I've learned, Michael, other storms, the number one thing I hear from people is like, oh my God, we had no idea. Well, they had Category 3 winds still in Georgia and Alabama from Michael. So we're going to be in the same scenario. This thing's going to be moving fast, and it's going to be strengthening, and it's not going to weaken very fast. So they're showing a 90 mile an hour hurricane, Florida Georgia line there, and that's close to Gainesville. Gainesville's in the cone. Suwannee, like you mentioned, Suwannee River could be a big flooding concern. Tallahassee's in the cone. Unfortunately, we got friends at Apalachicola. They're technically in a hurricane warning now. And there we go. We got, shift our focus later Wednesday, probably starting Wednesday. This is 1 p.m. So later Wednesday, we're going to start worrying about South Carolina, Charleston especially, Savannah, coastal areas. We're going to see a very strong system. If this thing, exits this way, it could still be a hurricane because it's going to start feeding off these warm Gulf Stream waters. So I expect they're going to have some watches and warnings up soon. Tropical storm still expected here. 60 miles an hour tropical storm just off the coast of North Carolina. This would be on Thursday at 1 p.m. So we're only a few miles away. 60 mile an hour tropical storm. Going to have a lot of effects there too. It's going to be long gone by Friday. I know there's models showing a loop. I'm not going to talk about the loop right now because seems far-fetched, but there are models that are showing this thing stopping at ABC Fine Wine and Spirits and looping back to Florida. But in all seriousness, let's worry about now. By the way, speaking of ABC Fine Wine and Spirits, my commercial came out today. So I saw it on Instagram. I saw it on TikTok. I don't know if I saw it I think I saw a Facebook Reel. So Google it. It's pretty cool. About getting your storm supplies. Julie, thanks for the stars there, Miss Young. Appreciate that. Everybody's talking about the loop. No loop. We're not talking about the loop. No loop. No loop. Anyway. All right, McFish. I'm doing a little better job keeping people up to date. I know storm chasing, a lot of people don't like it, and I understand that, and that's a big criticism I get. But, my opinion is that when a storm is barreling down on a location, that is the time you need to be listening to your National Weather Service, local EOC. You know where it's going. I really can't tell you anything that's not happening. There's no more guessing. It's like usually by tomorrow, things are pretty much set in stone. People should be prepared. People are going to be evacuated tomorrow, right? If you're an A, you're supposed to be out of here. So you've already left. So usually the day before, man, things are pretty much set in stone. And tell you the truth, I'm like mentally exhausted. I don't think anybody goes live as much as I do, and now I'm doing it on all social media. It's a lot keeping people up, and figuring out what to say and how to say it. All right, so let's talk about all the latest tracks. All right, so real quick, if you go to the website, all the important stuff is right here. We have Florida Division of Management. We got the threat map. I think this is a good map to hit. So hit the threat map. This is going to kind of let you zoom in into your particular area. If you hit threats and impacts, it's going to zoom really close to your area. I wish I could make it bigger, but I can't. It might be a personal problem, I know. But here's purple. That's wind gust. Almost like I don't want to share these maps, but it's on the National Weather Service site. It's Hurricane Center site. It's official. But purple, 110 mile an hour plus gusts. Red gust, 74 to 110. Now look, everybody thinks, oh my God, I'm out of the cone. I'm not going to get anything. Hey, according to this, where did the cone go? I lost the cone. Get back there. Oh well. Cone's gone. It's gone for everybody. Anyway, so we're not in the cone here in Pinellas, for example, but, red, 74 to 110 mile an hour wind gusts. Whether or not that happens or not, I don't know. But that kind of paints a picture that Jacksonville area, southern Georgia, going to see some big wind gusts. And this is what knocks down trees and blows away lawn chairs. And then we got storm surge. All this stuff's the same. Storm surge, flooding rains, and tornado threats. So real quick, too, I want to bring this up. A lot of people don't realize this, but there are tornado threats. And there you go. Tomorrow, we're going to be seeing these squall lines off of the Gulf, feeder bands, and there's going to be tornadoes because we're going to have very strong bands of rains that are going to be rotating through the state. There's a lot of upper air level instability with tropical systems. You have a lot of daytime heating in between these feeder bands, and you get tornadoes. And sometimes you get a lot of tornadoes. So we'll probably have a tornado watch in Florida tomorrow. Some of the bands are almost showing up on radar now. So, there's going to be a lot of weather tomorrow. Now, this thing hasn't really moved much. That wasn't expected to. I did see, I'm going to go into the strength of this thing here in a second. But let's go into Wednesday. As our storm moves away, we start to get storms now to worry about from the Atlantic. And there's going to be a tornado chance for upper Florida along the East Coast. So pay attention to that. That could be overnight, Tuesday into Wednesday. So Tuesday, Wednesday, it doesn't matter. It doesn't stop when the sun goes down, unfortunately. Some other important maps, and then we'll get right into it. Timing of winds. This is very important. I know not everybody knows about it, but we could start seeing Tuesday 8 a.m. tropical storm force winds in South Florida. We could see Tuesday 2 a.m. in the Keys. That's tonight. So if you got boats in the Keys tonight, 2 a.m., you might start seeing squall lines. Tuesday 8 p.m., Wednesday 8 a.m., all the way up to the Georgia-South Carolina line. This is the earliest you might start seeing tropical storm force winds. So that map's important to look at. Spaghetti models, obviously. The 18Zs just came out. Let's take a look at that on Tropical Tidbits. I don't know if it's shifted or not, but it's been pretty much locked into this general area for a couple days now. So no weird changes on that. And there you go. Surge map, like I mentioned, this is very important to keep up on. They did raise it. He's right. He mentioned 12 feet. So now we got 8 to 12 feet surge expected here. It was 11. 6 to 9 down to Tarpon Springs, basically. And then, of course, Tampa 4 to 7. Ada was only 3 to 5. I think Ada ended up being 3.5. So, and this does include moon cycles. It does not include waves. A little fascinating tidbit. Surge is a natural rise of water from the storm, and then you add waves on top of that. And wind blows waves. So then you get this, So let's look at one more thing, because I forgot to look at it earlier, and then we're going to look at all the models. I want to look at the European wave map. I did not look at it this morning. I forgot, and now I want to look at it. So let's take a look at the waves out in the Gulf of Mexico expected tomorrow, based on the latest track. And it's still there. 53.8. 53-foot seas. This is not surge. But that is extremely high waves for the Gulf of Mexico. This is what's going to be helping push that surge. That water bubbles up in the Gulf and it's shallow shelf. That water starts to bowl up, and we could see some serious surge inland from that. And that includes Tampa. There's going to be a lot of water in that Gulf of Mexico rising and being pushed. So don't take it lightly. And then we got to look on the other side. Let's go over here. This is more than before. So now we got to shift focus over here to the East Coast. And I keep defaulting back to that. What are you doing to me? All right, here we go. Oh, and I got 2 stickers. I always do that. We got to start over again. I got 2 stickers. I can't say it. They block it out. But I got 2 logos for my truck. So if you see me going down the road, hey. All right, so let's look at the waves. So the East Coast is going to be dealing with this. This is 18Z, but still, there it comes right there. I really didn't zoom in enough, but you get the idea. It's showing 74, but that's because it's Franklin. Let's get a little closer. I wonder how I can do that. Let's see. Maybe I can do East Coast? Southeast. There we go. This would make more sense. Franklin's out there. Franklin's a big one. Franklin's not going to bother anybody, hopefully. Maybe a little bit of action for Bermuda. But all right, so here is the wave map that's exiting with Idalia. I had to think of Idalia, and then I just don't say the V. Idalia. Hey, look what I got for my storm chasing. Now, I don't need anybody giving me a hard time. Hope we don't have any Karens. But I grew up on caffeine. I used to chew Vibrant in college because I didn't want to have to go pee in class. I did. I like caffeine. So I got my caffeine. They don't make Vibrant anymore. All right, so when you got Idalia exiting, look at these waves. Holy moly. So you're going to have some incredible surf, man, in the North Carolina Outer Banks. This will be Wednesday, Thursday. But look at that. Some of these are showing up 54. And these waves are going to be spinning in. Again, a lot of surf. Be some big-time beach erosion, possibly. All this heavy surf blowing in Thursday. Should be out of here by Friday. Okay, let's look at a couple other things real quick. All right, so I showed everybody a graphic earlier today I thought was really interesting. Weather nerds. And you can do this. Go to custom satellite zoom. Zoom in on our little area here. This would be Idalia. By the way, so there is a discussion going on from a lot of Mets. Let me show you. This is Tropical Tidbits, by the way. This is our recon data from the hurricane hunters. So there's a lot of discussion that the storm is not intensifying. That could slow the intensification down. Be good news, right? But now we got 985 pressure. So remember our original discussion days ago, it was supposed to lift off at 1,006, and now it's 985 down there. Smack dab over all that warm ocean heat content, which the NHC actually talked about today. But anyway, there's your latest Hurricane Hunter, 985. The winds haven't caught up yet, but, that's getting down there. Pressure is definitely dropping. It's really close to Cuba. The Euro's been trending a little bit more east than the GFS, and I was going to show you this now. So there's our system. Bubbling. Look at that latest convection here. Look at this. I'm going to go to Tropical Tidbits. He's got sexy satellite. Look at that. So this is, I know it's not an eye clearing out, but you keep getting little signs here of it trying. A lot of lightning. This is just a big bubble of convection throughout the day. Little wind shear to the north. It's supposed to be entering some favorable conditions. The National Hurricane Center actually said rapid intensification now. They didn't say maybe. They just said pretty much it is going to experience rapid intensification tomorrow. Big change of tone from yesterday. So what's cool about this map here, you can superimpose the latest ensembles on there. I forgot about this. I just got to figure out my mouse. Come on, little guy. It's like a game. Do I get points if I get it? There it is right there. So here's the latest 12Z ensembles. And you got to go back up here, hit update. This is weathernerds.org. And this is what we got. So now, trust me, this is not wish casting. I don't want the thing to come here. But I do want to point out what's interesting with this particular graphic is these spaghetti models this particular set ran about 3:30 p.m. Eastern, 4 o'clock maybe, 4 o'clock Eastern. And this is current satellite. So what's kind of neat about it is you can kind of just guess maybe where the eye is now, where the model thought it was going to be. So is it to the east a little bit? I don't know, but these models thought that it was going to be here at this time stamp, and it didn't. So is it tracking a little bit east? And I hear myself talking. What's going on? My wife, I swear. Probably watching Dennis again.
He is live.
I know. So, hey, by the way, everybody, I texted Dennis earlier today. I said, Dennis, this is deja vu, man. I got Kevin Guthrie coming on at 7. Last time I did that, we had more hate mail thinking that I did it on purpose. And he's like, no, man, it's all good. So he's probably over there bashing me right now. All right, Mike over there. Mike's... If anybody's watching Dennis right now, say no, because he might believe me. He'll probably text me. But Kevin's schedule is obviously filled, so we were like, we'll take whatever you can get. So I don't know. We'll watch this. I mean, this is not meant to say, oh, there's going to be an east track change. I'm just letting you know this is the latest Euro suite, and it's a little more east than the GFS. That's all. So nothing's set in stone, trust me. We don't have a lot of outliers. We've got one or two, but, again, anybody living, in the West Central, any shift east is going to bring a lot more weather that you weren't expecting. Now, Irma was a Cat 1 that went right through the middle of the state, and there was a lot of damage in our counties on both sides of the state. And it was only a Cat 1. So you got to figure this thing's just off the coast a little bit, and it gets a little closer. You can't be focusing on that cone. So, there's a suite. Another way to look at the ensemble is really kind of cool. And then I want to show you the latest runs. So here is the latest GFS ensembles. You can see the black line mean, that's the average of the GFS, all the 31 members, is skewed a little bit over to the west. But I remind you, the GFS has been horrid this year. Terrible this year. It was terrible last year, so don't put all your eggs in one basket right now. That's why we have a cone. And I know everybody's so worried about little shifts here and there, but we just don't know. Until this thing starts to move, you don't really know. If this thing drifts a little here and there, and then it decides to take off. There's a high pressure building in between Franklin and I keep wanting to say Idalia. And that high pressure is going to kind of help accelerate and push and block. There's a front coming down. It's going to pick it up. Eventually, it's going to merge with that front. And, if the front's a little stronger, it's going to pick it up, turn it a little quicker. If the high is a little weaker, it's going to, high is a little stronger, it pushes it this way. So Euro just, to me, has been the best with upper air patterns. Euro's not really good at strength predictions. The Euro's really good at reading upper level air patterns. So if I had to pick a model, it would be watch the Euro over the GFS. All right, so our favorite website in the planet, Spaghetti Models. No. Tropical Tidbits. Look at, I got so many cool sites that I've found. Look at, all right, so Brian McNulty. Let's do the models, then I'll show you all this stuff. That's all anybody cares about. But there's a lot of good. This Berg weather site is phenomenal. Unbelievable graphics on here that he has. Tremendous graphics and blends of models and, just awesome. Like, here's your 4 big ones. This is your ensemble mean trends. I don't know the colors. I don't know which. Oh, yeah, I do. Look at purple. Purple is UTC, actually. Oh, no, it's a time. It's like in UK. Ensemble mean trends. So, this is a blend of all the models that make one model. So the confidence is extremely high that this thing is going. All we're looking at now is wiggles and wobbles. All right. Let's do the models. All right, so let's look at the worst case scenarios. These are your hurricane specific models. HWRF the last few years has been phenomenal with intensity. First, I noticed one thing. All right, so it initialized at 990. Now it's 995. So the models assumed it was going to be 990. It's 985. So whatever it's going to show, it's not like in Fantasyland. But here's that rapid intensification that we're going to see, possibly. We get into overnight tomorrow, 943. 943 millibar, the old school, that is already a Cat 4. And it just continues to deepen. 932. So I don't have to tell you how bad that is. So the trend here is it's not weakening on approach. Now these tracks on these models I've found over the years, not really good. Intensity, yes. Now I don't know about the track on the HAFS. The new model here, I didn't even realize it, but it ran last year. It was an experimental model. I guess I didn't even follow it. Maybe it was out there. I don't know. I learned something new every day. But anyway, it's going to become operational soon, meaning it's going to replace the HWRF as the new hurricane model. So maybe it's good on the track. I don't know. But here's the deal. So it initialized today at 0 hours at 983. So it's maybe a little aggressive. But this is what it showed at 12. Oh, this is the 18Z. This one just came out. 959 off of Tampa. 940, 932. A little weakening now. Look at that. 932, 948. Might be feeling a little effects of the land. There is supposed to be a little dry air up here. But that's the first one that I've seen show a little bit of weakening. 948 is not really weak, so still a very serious problem. 973 in Georgia is still a hurricane. $989 here, South Carolina. We know this is going to happen. We zoom in on radar. This is what it could look like here tomorrow. So this doesn't really reach the peninsula, but there's going to be bands of rain. Well, tomorrow we're going to see bands of rain all the way through the Panhandle, possibly ripping down through Louisiana. Tropical systems, counterclockwise. I was on Drew Garabo today. Everybody was doing this. By the way, I was on Tom and Dan today, and Drew and Garabo twice. I was on a radio show in Tennessee. I wonder why I'm tired. But see, here's these bands setting up tomorrow. So we're going to have strong squall lines tomorrow, Tuesday. tornado probabilities were already up, and this includes a big part of the Florida Peninsula tomorrow. So it's nice now. It's going to start going downhill fast. So, here's your rain bands. Obviously, whipping into the Bay Area. This would be early Wednesday before daylight. But look, you're still getting strong bands of rains wrapping around, coming in. This thing makes landfall, spiraling storms wrapping around the whole state. Then we get into midday Wednesday, and we're starting to see this. All right, so Wednesday starts on the Carolina side in Georgia. Look, boom, boom, boom. All this now coming in, feeding off the Atlantic. The Atlantic is warm, Gulf Stream. So we're going to start seeing storms fueling here. That's why they're under a yellow SPC risk for Wednesday. Storms now coming in off of that Atlantic are going to be strong. Ugly looking. This is Wednesday night. Look at all this moisture out here brewing. Effects way from center. Going into Thursday morning here, this is North Carolina. And then it's your turn. All this wrapping around. So, it's still predicted to be a 60-mile-an-hour tropical storm. If this thing doesn't go over water or land, it could pop back into a hurricane again. I completely can see it. We saw it earlier today. That Gulf Stream's hot and tricky. Tricky. So that's everything in a nutshell. All right, we got one more model to look at. The HAFSB. And it's hard to show, but I'm just going to keep it right here. 944. So all your hurricane models are showing some significant intensification tomorrow. Your HMON, usually aggressive, but it's still showing 952. So it's going to be a lot of surge up there. Like I said, Florida's a bowl. All that water is pushing. We could see every storm is different. I was going to go somewhere, but I decided better judgment. There's a great link here on the site. Right here, surge map, surge inundation, and surge warning. So surge inundation map is a map that kind of looks at everything at once. Of course, everybody else shared it, but I share it, and I'm hyping for clicks. Click, click, boom. This kind of shows you the worst case scenario based on tides, what you might expect. And it's believable to me because I saw it with Ada. Ada had a lot of homes, hundreds of homes flooded. Ada was a tropical storm passing by. People think I'm hyping. I'm like, I was the only person storm chasing Ada. I was out there like the only guy. Well, my buddy Dale Kindberg, but I mean meteorologist. I'm not a meteorologist. I just said it. Well, there wasn't any meteorologists, or there wasn't any fake meteorologists like me. But I saw all this area, my area here in Oldsmar, a lot of homes they weren't really, a lot of them had flooding. The roads were all flooded. Bayview, is it Bayshore Drive or Bayview Drive? This is all underwater. This was what happened with Ada. All this water pushed up into the bay. The hospital, what is it, Tampa General over here? They were building a dam around it tonight, worried about this surge. It might be pushing up into Tampa Bay. And then you go over here to Pinellas, obviously, all these little islands, intercoastal ways. But look, we start getting red the more north we get. Holiday, Hudson, look at that, Spring Hill. Now we're getting into some pretty serious stuff. And these are homes. These are neighborhoods. These are, a lot of populations, even though, you don't realize it. Homosassa Springs, Crystal River. This is the area that we're going to have to watch, and you heard Kevin talk about it, Swanee River, we're going to have to watch. So these maps are kind of real. And we're starting to get surge maps here across Georgia, Savannah. I suspect these are going to be really fluid, get the pun, fluid, because of the track dependent on this surge. If the low comes out a little bit more, we're going to have more surge because we're going to have more rotation, we're going to have more deepening pressures. But if your areas at flood, remember that super moon? Man, I saw a video. There's a Tampa Bay storm chaser. His name is on X, and he was showing video from around the area today. Holy cow, man! Bayshore Boulevard already was flooded today. This is all just because of the moon. It had nothing to do with the storm, but this super moon is one of the biggest of the years. That's not hype. That's real. We saw places today that were flooded, and I'm sure you do too if you live in it. You know what I'm talking about. A buddy of mine, Jim, works at Pineapple Willie's, Jack Willie's, both good places. And he was telling me how the water on the side was all the way up. And that place flooded during Ada. So these tide cycles are no joke. I am storm chasing, so please tune in. I will be out and about tomorrow with my buddy Phil. Shelly will be on the home base. I got some big people to meet up with. I'm excited. Hopefully Reed and Jim, and maybe I'll get to finally meet Ryan Hall. Tom and Dan, thank you, Shane. Let me read some comments now. Justin, 942, 144. New advisory just came out, 8 o'clock. What's the scoop? Let's see what they say. Is it a hurricane yet? Why not? It's 985 pressure. I can't believe it's not. Nope, 70. Man, I've never seen a 985 storm not be a hurricane. Well, we did actually. Nicole was, it's 983 now. Problem with Nicole was it was down in the 970 range at the last minute, and really this hurricane force winds never really reached the surface. The winds pressure drops, then the winds catch up. Pressure drops, winds catch up. So 983 could be pretty strong. We see a couple more bursts of convection, and we're going to see this thing, really get going. So they'll have a brand new track advisory at 11. They don't do a new cone at 8. But what they do, God, what's that graphic I used to use? Oh, do you want to know if it shifted or not? So the track it was supposed to be at, I think, what am I missing here? Oh, Invest 92 must be gone. I got to get that off the site. And my YouTube is acting up on the app, so it still works. I just have the page. I didn't want to have them messing with my API because I didn't want anything to happen to the app. So I had somebody email me the YouTube. So I fixed the YouTube. At least now it's the page. You can still watch it. It's just not as sexy, but it works. So let's look at the radar, and we can sometimes this radar site, not that one. I'm like lost here. Where the hell is it? Right up top here, Google Radar. Sometimes this one will adjust the new point but leave the old track. Sometimes, let's see. Is that the 8 o'clock? There's the 8 o'clock. So now they kind of blend it. God, I wish I had the 8 o'clock. I don't know where it was supposed to be. But bottom line is this: since we're looking at 10-mile shifts, 20-mile shifts. For example, this is the expected point at 2 a.m. This was the 5 o'clock track. They expected the storm to be there at 85 mile an hour. So I can see that happening if the pressures drop that much. But if it's not there, then we might have to entertain the idea of a little more eastern cone. So it'll be curious to see what happens. Does it do that? Does it bend a little bit? But at this moment in time, it's a little bit east of where maybe it was supposed to be. I don't know, but we'll let them decide that. But what's a 10-mile change do? Well, it brings the cone, brings everything a little closer to places like Cedar Key. That's where Cedar Key is where Cantori's at. Cedar Key. I don't want to be like everybody else. Where are we going to go?
Oldsmar, Florida.
Oldsmar. Julie says Oldsmar. Gainesville. I'm telling you, man, Gainesville Gainesville's not that far from the coast if you think about it. They're gonna have hurricane force winds, gust at least. Lake City. We got a lot of followers in Lake City, Shelley, right? Don't we have a lot of fans that live in Lake City? And one time I was going smack dab over Perry, and that's where our artist Andy Simmons lives at. So I could see him write me. Andy, are you listening? Where you been, Andy Simmons? We need to whip up a new song, man. Not that we need it. I just love your music. I've been sitting here watching Idalia, asking Mike, what the hell, yeah? Go to Swanee River, way down. You know, that would be a good Andy song. Something about he could sing about the Swanee River. Oh well. Listen, I hope I covered some information tonight. Chiefland. Shelly, text me on my landline, not the landline, the real phone. What should I talk about? Probably tell me to sign off so she can go get the hell off the internet. You're welcome, Teresa. Catherine. Catherine, okay, I didn't read the comment. What are the villages like? Is it fun? I have a golf cart. I hear you catch a lot of 3-letter things there. I only got a couple more years. Well, Julie, can I? Since Julie's 3 years older, two. Could we move in at 50? Could she move in at 55? Hell, I'm still a youngin', man. I'd be like the hottest thing in town. Oh, Gantori's in Gainesville, but I think he is on his way. Jerry Coe, man, what's up, buddy? Samantha Hiller laughing. Blah, 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 blah. The front coming down. Yeah, we get a lot of questions about the front. Here's where it's at currently. You can see it on water vapor loop too, but that's pretty much it. This is the same front that's making Franklin do that, and this is the same front that's going to make Idalia do that. And you heard Kevin say we're going to be back to heat again at the end of the week for the Florida Peninsula at least. So it's not like a season-ending hurricane when we get like cool weather for weeks. Remember when Ian passed? It seemed like it was cool for a month after that. It was like, oh my God, summer has ended. It's going to be hot again. So the water vapor loop, should be able to see it on the water vapor loop here. Well, that's not the one. Let's look at another one. Let's look at the continental U.S. and see what. Man, I was so afraid that I was going to lose. Shelly, did you text me? We are never synced up. She's probably texting me on the other line. I got 2 lines. 2 lines. I sound like a radio station. Caller, come on the line with me. I think the saddest news this week was Bob Barker dying. That was really sad. Yeah, Julie died. And I grew up, man. I love Bob Barker. You know, this is why I love TikTok, man. I run across old reruns and I watch them. It's like I get so excited. Plinko, I'm like 5,000. I love Plinko. All right, here's the front though. You can see it clear as day. Boo, boo, boo. There's the yellow air, dry air behind it. That's what's digging down, and that's what's opening up a hole. Right now, the steering currents are pretty much squashing our system. There's really nowhere to go. Bringing in a little wind shear, little yellow right there, little yellow guy. Bob Barker died. He didn't even get a penny over. That's right. He made it to 99 cents. There's Shelly. I knew you were there. You know, Shelly has never missed a live. You talk about dedication. Steinahachie. You want me to go to there? What the heck is Steinahachie? Did I say it right? Is that the first city I've ever said right in my life? the front's really not moving, Nikki. It's just kind of picking our system up. It is kind of moving a little bit, but that's what they do. They just create a weakness in the atmosphere. We had that blocking high pressure over the Gulf for forever, and something like this would have never happened. No 11 p.m. live. Are you crazy? I gotta sleep, man. Man. But we are live in the morning, 9:19. That'll be the last one. Everybody by then should know exactly where it's going. Reports of it looping back. I love that. Okay. I really don't like to talk about the future. But the euro, there's your ensembles, okay? There is a little weakness. But, you know, I don't know. I don't see it yet. I know the GFS teased the idea, but let's not worry about that yet. I mean, it's fun to talk about, I guess, but there's, you know, we don't have one euro ensembles showing it, and it's not the ensemble. It's just the weather pattern doesn't really make sense why that would work. But so I'm not ready to talk about the loopy GFS yet. It is loopy. It's Red Bull. Nope. I got beer bowl. Why no 11? I don't want to do an 11. I did one last night. Oh, I'll do an update. Are you kidding me? No. I could do one. Felicia, Panhandle, Big Bend. Yeah, well, Big Bend, oh yeah. Remember the, I don't know. I need to sleep, Shelly. Yeah, so remember, the only thing that's really tricky about anything is the west side of the storm. You know, the effects really decrease the farther away from the eye that you go. So it's really tricky on this track because how many times people can verify that, you know, a storm might, I don't want to draw it here. Let's go somewhere else. Shelly, have you been sipping a little TVBC? Well, I'm going to draw a line smack dab down the middle. This is not my prediction, but tremendous amount of weather here, very little weather here. That's just the way it always is. I think I just drew that snowman guy on Burrow. What was that guy's name on? You got to turn your head. What was that snowman guy on? Yeah, what was his name in the Rudolph?
Frosty the Snowman?
No, the one that kind of walked around, the old guy that had a mustache. No, but he was the snowman. They didn't name him Burl Ives, did they?
Frosty the Snowman.
Yeah, Frosty was the. But there was a bigger, like another snowman that. Somebody knows what I'm talking about. Olaf. Jack Frost. So. Sunshine, yeah, it's not going to happen really. There's a high pressure system developing in between it. I know it looks like there would, but there's really not. It's a really weird phenomenon right now to see this happening that closely. I mean, it's, you know, but there's definitely separation in the upper level winds. Trying to find a good way to show it, but I really don't know what button to hit. This is Tropical Tidbits again, by the way. There they are, but there they are. I was trying to look at vorticity is pretty good, actually. I was looking for the old colored one. Where's the colored one at? There it is. I just wasted everybody's time. I didn't really do anything. Sam! Was that the name? Abnormal snowman. I can't even say the word. Abominable.
No.
And Facebook blocked that out. I don't know why. Tom, is that some real information? The track did shift 2 miles. Well, that's interesting. Hey, little miles are going to make a big difference. Why is it not stacked? I don't know. Somebody's asking. Let's see. There is some wind shear that's coming in from the north. Yeah, see, that's that wind shear pushing it back a little bit. So we're not perfectly aligned yet. It makes total sense, right? Here's your 850, 700, and then 500. This is the effects of some incoming wind shear from the Gulf here. You can see that at the 250 level. So these winds are kind of pushing the upper level winds. That's expected to disappear, and it's going to end up into a window of opportunity tomorrow. So if it's still developing right now, 980 pressure, but good observation though. I haven't even checked. So this is the definition of stacking. 850, beautiful low level spin. You go to 500 millibar, a little higher in the atmosphere, and it's displaced a little bit, and that's all upper level wind shear. And you can kind of see it on water vapor loopage too. Let me take a look here. The water vapor loop kind of shows it. The dry air incoming from the Gulf, and that's just a sign that it's showing you. So, my teenager's home. Emily, would you like to say hi to everybody?
No, she left.
Oh, that was somebody else. Okay.
No, she was here. She left.
Oh, I didn't know they were here. Bumble. All right. So, listen, great honor to have the state of Florida on our chat. So thank you very much for them trusting me. Heck, I could have, who knows what I could have done. But they trust me. I trust them. They know me. They're great people. And I got an airboat ride. Austin, did you hear it? I got Austin. So 11 o'clock, we're going to get a new update. That's very important. To me, the next 3 updates are the most important. If they don't do any more track changes, the cone will get smaller. They did say in their discussion that we are going to see rapid intensification. So that wording is there. I think it was actually, here it is. Oh, it says likely to allow. Ooh, no, wait a minute. I looked at the public advisory and it said will. Has a difference of how you present things. See, look at this. Rapid strengthening is predicted during the next day. Oh, maybe rapid intensification. Is there a difference? I don't know. But winds are 70 right now. It's not quite a Sean hurricane party. Shelly wants to nap. So, by the way, I'm going to make the announcement. Shelly's going to host her first live weather update. So in all honesty, everybody, this is what you do. If you got concerns where you live, you heard it from the director himself. National Weather Service has great offices all around the state. Go there. I also have that on my app. Very important. We might have crashed Chrome. Nope, not yet. Only once this year. Let's go to Tampa Bay. You'll get to the National Weather Service office in Tampa Bay. And there you go. Click here for details. Hurricane warning. Well, that's just that. But you got hurricane statements. The main page right here. I like to click on the main page. Click on Tampa Bay, Florida. Then you get all kinds of stuff. You get, localized updates. So let's say you live here, and I got this thing really small, but let's say you live here in Clearwater Beach. So we click on Clearwater Beach. Here's all your conditions. Surge warning, hurricane warning. You know, they usually update these with graphics, like detailed graphics. There'll be more. But really, the best thing to do is click on your little area where you live, and there's pretty much detailed information that you can find out about. How much wind you're going to get, when it's going to rain. But then again, nobody ever knows, right? So, all right. Well, that's about it. So we're going to wait for the 11. Man, I'm starting to see pink. That's not good. Nope. If I don't sleep, I'm running on adrenaline right now. 11, 11, 11. Look at you all hitting 11. 11, 11, 11, 11, 11, 11. What's everybody typing 11? Is that like an inside joke? How many people typed Pelican this morning? All right, maybe we'll do 11. I'm going to say maybe. Somebody just paid $1.99. Okay. Okay. Shelly, make it 11:19. Because I got to update the page. Or we can do 10:30. No, because I want to do 11. All right, we'll decide later. All I see now are 11s. Man, you guys are crazy. They're like, what? People's keyboards are stuck. Hey, we didn't even show a dog yet. Come here, Louie. I think Louie's jealous. Come here. What? Louie came over to say hi. Say hi to everybody, buddy. I see the 11s. Louie, look at all the 11s. 11, 11, 11. Oh my God, you guys are crazy. All right. What do you think? All right. We'll stay tuned for details. Pelican. I went on a rant last night. We don't want to do another one of them. Oh, sorry, buddy. Didn't mean to poke your hand. All right, we'll be live at 11, but it's going to be very short. Okay, quit typing 11. All right. Well, thanks so much for tuning in for a special 7 p.m. Daily Brew, and got some great information from the state, and I hope everybody's taking this serious. Part of life, Florida and hurricanes, right? All right, we'll see you probably 11. There's a 99% chance, okay?